before we get into whether or not it's good, can you talk about some of the recent companies that have announced that they are doing a stock split? And then tell us what the heck does that mean, Kevin?
Yeah, so this list is growing. It feels like every other day there's another big company that's doing one. But as of today, Tesla is planning to do one. We have Alphabet, aka Google, is doing one. We've got Shopify and then Amazon. So those are the big four so far that are looking to do a stock split. Now, what is a stock split? Basically, it is taking a $100 bill and giving you 520s. They are making their share price smaller and more affordable, even though the company is still worth the same.
So, because you say that it's as if I had $100 bill, and when they announce a split, it just means I have 520s. How do I know whether or not this means that this is an opportunity for me as an investor, or is this no big deal for me as an investor? Is this something that's just rhetoric, or is this something I should be paying attention to?
Yeah, the interesting thing is it's a mix of both, because if I already hold the shares, I really didn't make any money, right? I have more $20 bills. Okay. Like I didn't make any money in and of itself. However, what we have seen is that history shows us that when companies split, more often than not, the stock does tend to rise over the next year or so. For example, when we talked about this, what was like in 2020, when Apple and Tesla did that split, from then, from 2020, Apple is up more than 30%, and then Tesla is up more than 135% from the time they did this split. So it gives investors an opportunity to say, hey, look, usually when stocks split, they tend to kind of do pretty well over that next year. So for some, this might be an opportunity.
Yeah, guys, I told you we listened to Kevin. So guess what? We bought some Apple and some Tesla back then because of our last conversation. We didn't just buy for us; we bought some for our kids. Okay, we bought some shares. So if I am, you said for if I already hold, for example, Google, this doesn't mean much to me other than now I have more quote unquote shares, but the value is still the same. But if I do not currently own Google, if I do not currently own Shopify or Amazon or Tesla even, and these splits are being announced, what would be your advice to me on how to evaluate as to whether or not this is a moment that I may want to consider jumping in on these companies?
That's a great question, and I think that's the key: is how do I evaluate? Right, a Shopify is not the same thing as Google, and neither one of those is the same thing as Amazon. Right, so this is your opportunity to say, look, of these companies that are splitting, what do I need to know? What is it that I believe about these companies? So what I would suggest is the first thing I do is look and see how well has the company did, let's say in the last year or two. So take a look at it at any chart. You can do this on Yahoo Finance. You can do this on any investing app. Click the little 1 year button and it'll show you this company has made X amount, right? That's the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is start to read the news to see how well the company is doing, and then decide if I believe in this company. Do I think they're going to continue doing well, or do I think that their future prospects aren't going to do well, and I'll just stay out of that one.
Okay. And then now, do you have some? So you just, as you began your answer, you said that this company isn't the same as that company, which isn't as same as this company. So it's a good idea to approach this single-minded, right? Not just because it's a stock split doesn't automatically mean that this is a great opportunity for me. It could, but it also could not. And one could be a great opportunity, and the next one could not. Is that what you're telling us?
Absolutely, absolutely. Every company is different. The economy is different than what it was back in 2020, right? But you know how we approach different foods from different restaurants, right? Like you can get a dollar. It's a dollar menu everywhere. They don't make every dollar menu the same, right? So you want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence and saying, okay, well, yeah, you're doing a stock split, but that doesn't necessarily make you a better company, right? It doesn't necessarily make you stronger. So that's something that you want to pay attention to when you're starting to make those decisions.
Now, how do you become? Because some people they think the stock market and the thought of the stock market is scary. For some people, they've even said, it's like gambling. Some people feel unqualified to be able to make sound decisions when it comes to the stock market. So you've been doing this for a long time, many years. You've helped a whole lot of people get comfortable with the stock market. So for somebody who's like dealing with fear, apprehensive about even doing what you're telling us to do, even from a research perspective, because they feel overwhelmed, what would be your encouragement or your advice to them on that?
Yeah, my advice is if you are a long-term investor, that this doesn't have to be a scary process. You don't need to know a whole bunch of math. You don't need any degrees to do this. And again, for long-term investors, the odds are in your favor. So for example, on average, going all the way back to 1950, that was before my time, but going all the way back to 1950, if you hold a stock for at least 1 year, the chances of it being positive is 79%. That's not bad. But that chance goes up to 89% if you hold it for 3 years, and then you're above 90% when you hold it for 5 years or more. So it's not a guarantee, but those who sit back, buy, and leave things alone, the chances are that you're going to end up on the positive side at the end of the day.
So let's look at, these ones that are the major players right now. How is this? Let's start with Tesla because they did one a couple years ago. We got in. I got no regret. I got no regrets uh, about jumping into Tesla a couple of years ago when they did their split. For you, as you pay attention to what they're saying and what's happening, and as of this recording, Elon's trying to take over Twitter. Uh, but like, how are you? What are you looking at, and what have you seen? And what are you thinking when it comes to the upcoming Tesla stock split?
Yeah, so two things. So Tesla still has to be approved by voters. So actually, me and you get to actually vote on whether or not they get to do this split. So we'll probably get an email here at some point. So one, it still has to be approved. We don't know when that date is going to be for Tesla. My concern there is Elon and Twitter. Is he going to take his focus off of Tesla, which is a company I own? Like I need him to keep making us some money, right? So I want to make sure, I want to see where that's going to be, see how much time he is going to spend there. But the other thing that I know everybody is talking about is supply chain issues. Is Tesla going to continue to produce cars better than Ford and GM and Toyota and others that are struggling to make cars? So far, Tesla has been the best in the game at doing this over the last year or so. They just opened a factory in Germany. So I think Tesla is going to do pretty well. My question would be, what is Elon going to be doing during this time? Is he focusing on making cars, or is he focusing on social media and other stuff?
Yeah, man, it's a wave because now I do want to say that since I've been a Tesla owner, this thing, listen, Elon makes this thing a roller coaster. You got to have a
Yes, it
strong,
does.
a strong stomach to be a
Yes,
Tesla shareholder.
absolutely.